and the dog's deed is done.
What can I say? They were the best. They really stood out. They put it all together when it counts, and that's what the sport's all about.
What a routine.
And that just may do it for Georgia here tonight.
Wow.
The Jim Dog Show is brought to you by Melwood Springs. Melwood Springs from the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Georgia.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Yocklin. Welcome to the Jim Dog Show. And with me, once again, Associate Head Coach and future Head Coach of the Jim Dogs, Jay Clark. We just got back from Auburn, Alabama, where we posted our highest road score of the season. And, you know, it's interesting because Courtney Kupets ended up being sick and was only able to compete one event. But we still posted our highest road score. So overall, a good competition.
Yeah, just a real testament to the depth and overall talent of our team in that we can change things up drastically as we ended up doing and still be able to score over the 197 mark. And that's the mark of a great team. And now if we can just iron out some of the kinks and get more consistent, as you'll see later in the broadcast, with some of the mistakes that we make in some various areas, I think this team is going to be in good shape down the road.
I did too, and we saw a lot of good things happen this weekend. We saw Marcia Newby step up on bars when Nikki had a fall. We saw Lauren Sessler come through with a great vault for us, and that's been a problem. Our number 6 vaulter, you know, has not been delivering a good score, and Lauren Sessler was able to do that for us. Some consistency in the beginning of our lineup on floor from freshman Hillary Morrow, starting us out again strong. And then, of course, balance beam was a 49.5, and you know, just that's what we've been working for. That's what we've been talking about all year, is how strong our team is on the balance beam. So overall, a great meet, kept us in the #1 ranking position, which we are again this week. So let's take a look at the highlights from the first 2 rotations.
So here we are at Auburn, Beard Eves Memorial Coliseum on the campus of Auburn University. And after a fall by Nikki Childs on bars, Marcia is up next for us, and we need her to kind of right the ship here. A little bit of a leg separation there on the backswing, a little short and soft on that overshoot to handstand. I'd like her to get that up a little more, and we've been hammering that in practice. Very nice handstand work there from her. Stalled her. Good to Tkachev. That handstand again, even when she's a little short, she sells it. You can see she really locks out her handstand. Trying to get those knees together on that dismount there, and a little bit of a step to the side, and Marcia goes 9.8, but she gets us back on track, and that's the important thing at this point. You never want to start a meet with a fall in your first routine, and that's twice that's happened with us this year with Nikki on bars. Abby Stack does a Higgins to a Jaeger, very well done. Giant full needs to finish a little more on top. She begins to pike down, you can see right before she finishes that giant full. Pack salto was good, though. Comes back to the high bar, getting ready for her dismount. She pulls this in. You can see she turns early off the bar, and it gets her in close to the bar. She does stick it, and that's the positive, but it was a little bit close to the bar, and from this angle you couldn't really see how close, but she goes 9.825. Chrissy Voss from Scottsdale, Arizona. Very nice Yurchenko half front. She goes 9.85 for Auburn, and they're doing a good job over on vault. Tiffany Tolnay back over on bars for us. A little bit short on that handstand right from the beginning. Good blind change to Jaeger. Overshoot to handstand. Very well done. Everything's pretty clean to this point with the exception of a little bit of a short handstand. Couldn't tell about that one. It looked pretty good from here. There you see a little bit of a check on the end of that giant full. And a little hop there on the landing. And again, we look tentative, and those kinds of things happen. When you have a fall early in the lineup, those kinds of things can happen. Lindsey Puckett from Lilburn, Georgia. Very nice Yurchenko full. Big step there on the landing. She goes 9.85 for Auburn. Grace Taylor back on bars for us. And right here is her only major break. You see she has to muscle that handstand a little bit. Gets into the front stalder. The overshoot gets all the way up to handstand. That's something we've really been working on. Comaneci flip, very well done. Other than that one break at the beginning, there's not much wrong at this point with this routine. Great double out, just a tiny shift of the feet, and Grace goes 9.875. Probably a full tenth on that break in the beginning. Julie Dwyer, Yurchenko half front layout, excellent vault. She's really trying to go for that stick and has a shift back with her foot, and she goes 9.85. Katie Heenan rounding out our lineup on bars. Toe on blind. I'd like to see her tighten that up a little bit. She's a little loose in the middle part of her body there. Very well done overshoot to toe on and off to handstand. She gets bonus combination for that as well. Blind change to double front. She's really trying to go for the stick, kind of jelly legs the dismount and takes a step forward. Katie goes 9-9. The rest of the routine was great in terms of handstand work. So after one rotation, we have a 1/10 lead over Auburn, who is very steady on the vault, and we head over to vault, where Marcia leads us off. Pretty good vault. She had a little bit of a direction problem there. You can see as she leaves the table right here, she's beginning to push off a one hand right at the beginning there, making the turn a little bit early, and that sends her a little bit crooked. She steps to the side and goes 9.875, but a very strong first vault for us. Cassidy McComb up second, the freshman from Las Vegas. Again, a little offline. You can see that round off was a little bit off center. Yurchenko full. And she goes 9.825. A little pike down and a pretty sizable step there. Cassidy is still trying to get the 1.5 back into our rotation, but sometimes we feel like we need to go with the sure thing. And Lauren Sessler breaking into the lineup in the number 3 spot. Walk on out of Lilburn. She's done a great job of pushing her way into the lineup, working very hard to get this vault. Yurchenko lay out half front. You can see her legs come apart there at the end and bend just a bit, but a pretty solid landing there, and she goes 9.85. And then Katie Heenan, the Rock, senior on vault, last in the rotation, goes 9.925, and you can see just the overall amplitude and great repulsion off the table there. Little bit of a pike down, and that right foot doesn't quite stick, but just a great vault all the way around. 9.925, and sort of puts an exclamation point on the vault rotation. So we go 49.325 on vault, and that's a major improvement from what we've been doing.
The Gym Dog Show is brought to you by Melwood Springs. Melwood Springs from the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Georgia. By McCarr Homes. McCarr Homes, built with passion for over 50 years. By Brown Arrowhead Clinic. Arrowhead Clinic, Georgia's largest spinal healthcare organization. By Athens Regional Medical Center. At Athens Regional, we have a specialty, you. By Phil Hughes Honda. Phil Hughes Honda, the official Honda of the Georgia Gym Dogs. By the Georgia Club. The Georgia Club, a community of neighborhoods in Bulldog Country. And brought to you by Alpha Factor. Alpha Factor, the official gymnastics apparel worn by the Georgia Gym Dogs.
Ask Suzanne, brought to you by McCarr Homes. And this week's question is, with Katie Heenan doing so well on 3 events, when do you expect to have her back in the all-around? And the answer is, in 2 weeks. Against University of Arkansas, that will be when Katie will do the all-around. This Saturday against Kentucky, she will compete on the floor exercise and sit out a beam. And then against Arkansas, she will come back and do 4 events. That's Ask Suzanne, brought to you by McCarr Homes.
Welcome back. Well, after 2 rotations, we've got a pretty substantial lead, but I think it's important to look at the first rotation. After 1 rotation, we were only up by 1/10. Auburn did a great job on vault. We started on bars a little bit shaky. Nikki fell, and then Marcia sort of righted the ship. And it's not so much, Suzanne, as we were kind of talking off camera about what we did on vault as it is what Auburn was unable to do on the bars.
Right. Auburn definitely, like you said, it was a close competition after the first 2 events. Auburn didn't do what they needed to do on bars. And, it was really nice to see us come through and separate ourselves because of our vaulting, which, really has been a place where we've struggled. And, Tiffany was supposed to be in the lineup and ended up coming out, and Sessler went in, and a lot of last-minute changes. And our team stayed focused and rallied and took that big step forward to really separate us from the opponent. So in a lot of ways, just a really strong first 2 rotations.
Right.
Now we head over to floor exercise and Auburn over to beam. Let's see what happens.
So we're headed over to floor, and we warmed up very well on floor. We had a great contingency of our fans. You can see there in the stands. They brought 2 busloads of fans over from Athens, and they were loud, and they made up about half of the crowd that was there. Hillary Morrow leading us off on floor. Very well done whip double pike. This might be the best routine I've seen Hillary do in competition this year. Beautifully done, round off 1.5 to front full. She's very solid on all her landings, unlike the meet at NC State. And the Rudy was very squared at the end. Just a great routine all the way around. She only scores 9.825, but I feel like that's probably the best routine we've seen her do, regardless of the score. Nikki Childs up second. Does her Rudy layout step out. Nikki performs this team very, very well, which is one of the reasons she's able to get into the lineup, because you'll see her tumbling doesn't have all the difficulty, but the performance and the dance ability in this routine is just amazing. There's a whip half front layout there in the middle, and then this the whip immediate double full. That's a C plus 1/10 bonus on her last pass. I'd like to see her difficulty get up a little more on her tumbling. 9.8 was her score. Grace Taylor opens with a whip through to double pike. A little short, just there on the landing. You can see her step forward. But Grace, this is only her second meet on floor. We're just glad to have her back in there. Very strong double tuck in the middle. That's an encouraging sign. And then she adds back, last week she did a whip immediate double full. We did the 2.5 twist here. See, she's a little crooked as she lands, but a great job all the way around for Grace, only in her second meet on floor, 9.85. Lindsay Puckett on balance beam, and this is probably their best beam worker. You see flip-flop layout. Great series. Switch sleep, straddle jump. There's a straddle jump to a back tuck. She's very solid. Little balance check there. That's really the only thing that I've seen so far. A double tuck. Nails the landing, goes 9.9, and that's just a great beam set for Auburn. Abby Stack over on floor for us. And this is a little bit unusual for Abby. She's been doing very, very well with this triple full. Got a little too jacked up here. You're going to see here on her triple full. All the way, really, looks like she's breakdancing as she goes off the floor. But she was as surprised as anybody. So we move to Cassidy McComb after one fall. Cassidy does a double pike, steps out of bounds. Okay, that's going to cost us 1/10, so we got to make sure that we don't allow the wheels to come off at this point, because we've had a couple mistakes back to back. That's a solid middle pass, and actually Cassidy's routine was beautiful. She did make that one mistake. Very strong here on the double 2.5 punch front, much stronger than what we had seen last week from her on that last pass, so that was encouraging. 9.775 is her score. Julie Dwyer on the balance beam, the senior for Auburn. Again, a 3-series flip-flop layout. Auburn does have some difficulty on this event. Switch sleep to wolf full. Very solid. A little bit low on the front tuck, but not much of a balance check there. Finishes with a round-off double full. Sticks the landing. Has a little bit of a leg problem there, but goes 9.85 and very solid beam set for Julie. Courtney McCool. Over on floor, 2.5 front layout, very nice. That's just technically perfect. We say it every week, but it never gets old watching that tumbling pass. A whip, immediate double double full, and she just pogo sticks that landing and goes flying out of bounds. That happens sometimes when she turns the whip over a little too much. And a front double full, which we added back in last week, and she hits that successfully for the second time in a row. She goes 9.775, and the major deduction was on that middle pass plus the out of bounds. So 49.025 is a disappointing score for us, but still we have a 1.5 lead over Auburn heading into the last rotation.
My name is Maddie McCullough, and I'd like to ask Lauren Sessler, who is her favorite teammate?
Thanks for the question, Maddie. My answer is that all the girls are my favorite teammates. They all support me, so I don't have just one in particular. So thanks for the question.
Hi, my name is Dave Muai, and I'm proud to be associated with the University of Georgia Gym Dogs. I love that they've been identified with the Georgia Club since it first opened in 2001, and both strive for excellence.
Welcome back. Well, so much for finishing the meet and hitting all 4 events. This was our lowest floor score of the season. And really, what a surprise. I mean, Abby's mistake, she hasn't made that all year. It's the first time she's fallen on the triple twist since she put it into the routine. Well,
and looking at warm-ups, you would have never guessed any of those mistakes were going to happen. I felt like we warmed up very good. And in the past, we've had some issues when we've gone to Auburn for whatever reason on that floor. And we didn't expect it based on the way we warmed up. Felt like the team was well prepared to go into that rotation. And, you know, unfortunately, we come out with what is our lowest score on that event for the season. But the positive thing is we're still in the lead and we're going over to balance beam, which has shown signs of coming along to where we really expected it to be.
It has, and you know, the team is really determined right now. I like their energy level. I like their focus. They're almost just saying, stop, you know, no more problems. That was ridiculous that we made those mistakes on floor, and we're going to come back and we're going to hit beam. So let's see if they do it.
We're headed over to beam. You can see Suzanne trying to get the kids to focus on the balance beam and leave the mistakes behind that we just had on floor. So Katie, what better person to be in the starting position than Katie Heenan, who, as most of you know, has been incredibly consistent for us for her entire career. Flip-flop layout, perfect. Straddle jump to sheep jump, very well done. No balance checks anywhere. Punch front, little low on the landing, but very solid. No real balance check there. She does a round-off double fold to finish and sticks the landing, goes 9.925. Excellent way to start, and that just sort of settles everybody down, and that's what you need in that leadoff spot on the balance beam. So Grace is up next. Grace had been a little deeper in the lineup last week. We moved her back into the second spot. One-arm flip-flop to back pike. Grace has a beautiful presence on the beam. Moves very well down the beam, showing her flexibility there. Full turn with the leg up to a gainer layout step out. It's very difficult to do, to get the connection for. Front aerial to pike jump. Very well done so far. No real major breaks here either. Back handspring, double pike. She does hop that landing fairly big. 9.925. It scores the same as Katie, and really the interior part of that routine was virtually flawless. Chrissy Voss over on floor for Auburn. Opens with a double pike. Comes back with a whip half front layout, front pike. And then finishes up with a double tuck. A little bit low on the landing, has her chest down. But does a 9.8, gets a 9.85 for Auburn. Very solid performance. Tiffany Tolnay back on balance beam. Switch side, huge amplitude. That's the biggest that you're going to see, at least in this competition. Flip-flop layout, very solid. Again, no balance breaks. You can see the form. The legs are straight on everything. A beautiful punch front. She had some trouble with warm-ups, but reassured us that she was not going to miss it. Switch sleep to straddle jump. I'd like to see that back leg get up a little more on the switch sleep. And then switch sleep, gainer full dismount with a little step there on the landing, 9.9. And it was great to see Tiffany do that well on the balance beam. Lindsay Puckett over on floor. Opens with a double tuck. Whip half front full, that's a C plus 1/10 a bonus. And finishes with a double pike. Very nicely done. A little bit of a step forward there on that landing, but a well done routine, and goes 9.9. Nikki Childs back over on balance beam, and this is her career high. It's going to be her career high. This is a great routine here. Nikki, again, we've talked about it over and over during her career, just the line that she has on bars and on beam. Flip-flop layout, very solid. See her dance out. She's right back up on toe, working the beam. She works the beam as well as anybody in the country in terms of her presentation. Switch ring, that's a D. She actually had her leg straight on that one. That was the front leg. That was something we've been working on. Front aerial. Another D salto there. There's her full turn to satisfy that requirement. She gets ready for her switch sleep to double stag, and you see the front leg got up a little bit higher than what we've been seeing. We've been on her about getting that front leg up. Just little things that Nikki's been sort of getting nickeled and dimed on all year long. She's really showing signs of improving now. There's the Michael Jackson moonwalk. And the gainer full, you'd like to see that be a little straighter up and down. It traveled a little bit, but 9.95, she's fixed the landing, and really a well-deserved beam score. Excellent routine for Nikki Childs. We finished with a 49.5 on balance beam, our highest score of the year, and finish out the meet with a 197.125 to Auburn's 195.475.
Routine of the week brought to you by Athens Regional Medical Center, and this week's routine is Nikki Childs on the balance beam as a senior. She scores her career high of 9.95. That's Routine of the Week brought to you by Athens Regional Medical Center.
Countdown to the NC2As brought to you by Melwood Springs. And as you can see, Georgia remains in the top spot, but we have now gone to RQS, which stands for Regional Qualifying Score. It is your top 6 scores, a minimum of 3 away, drop the high, and average the remaining 5. And that's Countdown to NC2As brought to you by Melwood Springs.
Well, there you have it. A great competition on the balance beam. Average okay on the other events, but exceptional on the balance beam. Another 49.5, which is what we scored earlier in the season against LSU. And that was without Courtney Kupets on beam.
Yeah, just incredible performance, top to bottom. The kids really refocused and they almost competed angry. It seemed like they were irritated with how they had done on floor, and they went over there with the right kind of emotion and channeled it in the right direction. And you just saw outstanding performances from top to bottom. All 6 routines were just stellar, and that's what we've been expecting and looking for on that event as we head into this latter part of the season.
So this week we're back home against another SEC rival, University of Kentucky, and this competition's on Saturday afternoon at 4 o'clock in Stegman Coliseum. Hope to see you there.
The Gym Dog Show has been brought to you by Melwood Springs. Melwood Springs from the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Georgia. By McCarr Homes. McCarr Homes, built with passion for over 50 years. By Brown Arrowhead Clinic. Arrowhead Clinic, Georgia's largest spinal health care organization. By Athens Regional Medical Center. At Athens Regional, we have a specialty, you. By Phil Hughes Honda. Phil Hughes Honda, the official Honda of the Georgia Gym Dogs. By the Georgia Club. The Georgia Club, a community of neighborhoods in Bulldog Country. And brought to you by Alpha Factor. Alpha Factor, the official gymnastics apparel worn by the Georgia Gym Dogs.